What is NHS fraud? Spot it, report it, together we stop it. Scams, cons, swindles, hoaxes. These are all words used to describe fraud. There are three main ways of committing fraud. 1. Falsely representing the truth. 2. Failing to disclose information that you're expected to. 3. Abuse of position of trust or responsibility. The other ingredients of fraud are dishonesty and the intent to make a gain for yourself or another, cause a loss to another, or expose another to the risk of a loss. Anyone can become a victim of fraud. Not just individuals, but also organisations like the NHS. What happens when a fraudster targets the NHS and succeeds? The money they steal is taxpayer money, which would otherwise be spent on patient care. So when fraud is committed against the NHS, we are all affected. Let's look at an example of NHS fraud. Fiona is the Associate Director of Capital and Development for an NHS Trust. Her responsibilities include awarding contracts and subsequently approving the contract invoices. She awarded 2 contracts to friends with the intention of defrauding the NHS. In total, over 200 false invoices were submitted, all of which were signed for by Fiona. For this, she received payment from the contractors. Together, they defrauded the NHS out of £600,000. Who loses? The NHS, as it ends up paying for work that was not done. We've got all the ingredients for NHS fraud here. Abuse of a position of trust. Fiona has failed to protect the financial interests of the NHS organisation as required by her position. Dishonesty. Fiona's actions are dishonest. Fiona and her friends have committed the offences with the intent to make gain for themselves. And the NHS was the victim of this fraud. Fiona and her friends all received prison sentences and were ordered to pay back 90% of what they stole. Fiona is also set to lose her NHS pension. NHS Counter Fraud Service Wales. For more information on how to report fraud against the NHS, please visit cfa.nhs.uk/report fraud. Phone the Fraud and Corruption Reporting Line 0800 028 40 60 or speak to your local counter fraud specialist.